Good morning, guys. So the agenda for today, we are starting with the chapter of MAT. In terms of your exams, this does come up in your paper, although there is no set pattern or a trend for it. But yes, you do get independent questions based on MAT. MAT is a far lengthy and a far complicated topic as compared to AMT, what we did yesterday. AMT, alternate minimum tax, applies to all persons other than companies. But then AMT applies only if you satisfy certain select conditions. AMT applies if you have taken any one of those deductions. The formula is also pretty simple to tackle. Whereas MAT is something that is not that easy. MAT is something that is not as simple as AMT. Sorry. MAT applies only if you're a company. So this concept is applicable to companies. Why was this concept introduced? Just give me a second, please. Yeah. Why was this concept introduced? This concept was introduced because it was observed that companies are taking benefit, taking advantage of various provisions of Income Tax Act, which provide you incentives, which provide you deductions, which provide you exemptions. So the companies are legally computing their total income using all the deductions, all the exemptions that are possible. But in their books of account, the profit and loss account that is presented to the shareholder, they are showing a handsome amount of profit as per book profit. But when the same book profit is being taken up as a base for calculating total income, various exemptions are claimed, various deductions are claimed. Some provisions in Income Tax Act are more beneficial than what they are in accounts. So over a period of time, these incentives were given by the government to encourage something. For instance, additional depreciation is allowed as a deduction in addition to your normal depreciation. Depreciation gets calculated either at half rate or full rate. So even if an asset is put to use for 10 days in a year, depreciation will be still counted at half the rate, which will be quite high as compared to the accounting depreciation, which would be calculated only for 10 days because it was put to use for 10 days. So the provision of depreciation in Income Tax Act became beneficial to the company it was able to reduce its income tax payable because it was able to get more deduction of depreciation. Higher the deduction of depreciation, lower will be the PGBP, lower will be the tax. Similarly, when you make a contribution for scientific research, you contribute money for scientific research. In income tax, you get a weighted deduction. Today, the weighted deduction is 150%. But about 2-3 years ago, the weighted deduction used to go to as much as 200%. So I pay $100, but while I compute my PGBP, I am going to take a deduction of 200, double the deduction, or 150, 1.5 times the deduction. So my taxable profits come down. If taxable profits come down, it means my income tax also comes down. The chapter that we finished day before yesterday, or yesterday morning, I think, chapter 6A, which provides you deductions. You get various deductions based on your incomes, based on your profits. So those profits are reflected in the books. But in your return of income, you show those profits under the head PGBP, but don't pay tax on those profits because a deduction is allowed. You are a developer of special economic zone, or you have set up a industrial undertaking in any one of those northeastern states, or Himachal Pradesh, Uttaranchal, or Jammu and Kashmir. So there, that business is giving you profits. P&L account will show profits. Shareholders will be able to see the profit from that business. But the income tax department will not get the tax on those profits because there are deductions provided in the Income Tax Act, and the company is legally availing that benefit. Legally availing the benefit. So this resulted into a scenario where my regular tax on total income fell down to a great extent. In fact, in the past, there were instances where they used to pay zero income tax, but used to pay a lot of dividend to their shareholders, because profits would be shown in the books, and in income tax you would not pay tax on those profits because you would claim exemptions and deductions. And this is where the government felt that, okay, to encourage manufacturing, we created the concept of additional depreciation. To ensure development of those backward states, we created deductions. To encourage scientific research, we created a separate section for it. But over a longer period of time, these provisions started hurting the government when it came to collection of tax. These provisions did not give any income tax to the government, but the company was on a continuous basis showing handsome amount of profits. So the government felt kind of that this is a super profit making company, but zero tax paying company. This is a super profit making company, but a zero tax paying company. And so let us change the method of taxation a bit. It is not sensible to withdraw all those benefits that are already given. It is wrong to withdraw additional depreciation just because you are not getting income tax. Because a new person who is entering into manufacturing activities will be benefited from additional depreciation. So let's not change those provisions. Those provisions had their own logic. They will still work today. But at the same time, we also want a minimum amount of tax inflow coming in from the company, a company which is having super duper profits but paying zero tax. So they created this concept of book profit, and they say you pay minimum alternate tax at 18.5% of the book profit. Now the amendment brought about is that this rate has been reduced to 15%. You may remember when we started the syllabus, we saw that there are two budgets that we have to study. Finance Act 2019 and Finance Number 2 Act 2019. But in addition to that, you may also remember that we had something called as Taxation Laws Amendment Act 2019 that was introduced somewhere in September 2019 or so, after the second budget was passed by the Parliament, introducing various amendments. Taxation Laws Amendment Act 2019 was created. That act, that Taxation Laws Amendment Act, reduced my MAT rate from 18.5% to 15%. Applicable 15% is now the MAT rate applicable to all type of companies. Now from our yesterday's session, we can create one concept here. If my regular income tax on total income is less than MAT at the rate of 15% on book profit, then help me fill up the blanks, please. Then for that assessment year, what will be the meaning of the term total income? Tell me guys, this is something that we have done yesterday, so fill it up. The word total income will mean the book profit, and what will be the tax payable? The tax payable will be MAT at the rate of 15% plus surcharge, whatever surcharge is applicable, plus health education cess at 4%. Remember this? Surcharge will apply, health education cess will apply subsequently. First of all, we will have to compare the regular tax and the MAT without incorporating surcharge, without incorporating health education cess. Okay, how does a company calculate its regular tax? How does a company calculate its regular tax? Regular tax will be calculated as per flat rates. For the company, 25% is a flat rate, 30% is a flat rate. If you're a foreign company, 40% is a flat rate. Also, certain incomes like capital gains will be taxed at special rates. So that's how I calculate my regular tax. Acha. How will I calculate my total income? Total income as per regular provisions. So that is the same thing, gross total income less deductions that are available to the company under Chapter 6A of the Income Tax Act, which means I will take a deduction under Part B, Part C. Part CA will not apply to a company, but still, because Part CA has ATTTA and ATTTB, which is not applicable only to individuals. For that matter, Part D also will not apply, because Part D is talking about a person who is disabled gets a deduction, an individual. So Part D and Part CA are not applicable to companies. That means it will be Part B and Part C. Part B is deduction in respect of payments. Part C is deduction in respect of incomes. So regular tax gets calculated either as flat rate or special rate, that is on total income, and that's how we calculate total income. MAT is calculated at 18.5%, but 18.5% of the book profit. So what do we mean by the term book profit? The basic concept that we are seeing currently right now in front of us this is section 115JB subsection 1. This is the main section 115JB. 115JB imposes MAT. Many textbooks also call 115JB as the charging section for MAT, because the basic concept of MAT is put up in 115JB subsection 1. Now, book profit is calculated in section 115JB subsection 2. Explanation 1, 2 and 3. And basically what it does is it tells you to take your net profit as per the statement of profit and loss that the company prepares. Then you have to add and reduce all the adjustments that are given to you by explanation number 1 to section 115JB subsection 2. Then you have to give impact or give effect to 115JB subsection 2A, 2B, 2C. Okay, what are these? These are specifically Ind AS related adjustments. So a company which complies with your Indian accounting standard will prepare its statement of profit and loss according to Ind AS. Now a separate subsection, 3 separate subsections have been created for those Ind AS adjustments. After doing this much, whatever you get, this is your book profit. And on this book profit, you are going to apply 15%, earlier 18.5%, now 15%, and calculate your MAT. The important thing to study, the formula itself is very evident enough. This is important to discuss. What is explanation 1 to section 115JB subsection 2? This is important to discuss. Just give me a second, please. Yeah. So as I was saying, the formula itself indicates that it is this explanation 1 to section 115JB subsection 2 and subsection 2A, 2B, 2C, which are the important things to discuss. That is your computation part. These things are going to come up in your practical question. Achha, guys, so far, are we clear? चलो, तो the first question. MAT is applicable to companies. So when I am talking about applicability of MAT, does MAT apply to a domestic company? Yes, of course. Does MAT apply to a foreign company? Does MAT apply to a foreign company? Basic answer, yes. MAT is applicable to a foreign company, generally speaking. But then in this concept, there are exceptions created. So when it comes to applicability of MAT to a foreign company, generally speaking, yes, MAT is applicable to a foreign company also, but there are certain exceptions to this rule. First, if India has a double taxation avoidance agreement with that foreign country, and this company does not have a permanent establishment in India, I think you know something about this not having permanent establishment in India, double taxation avoidance agreement. Can you describe? We've done this in the last 2 to 3 lectures, I believe. What do you remember about the concept of permanent establishment? What do you remember about it? Not taxable in India if there is no permanent establishment. Perfect. So, a foreign company earning business profits in India, Income Tax Act 1961 would tell you it is taxable. But double taxation avoidance agreement will tell you that it is not taxable if there is no permanent establishment in India. So let's assume we are talking about a foreign company having business profits in India, but there is no permanent establishment in India. Income Tax Act would still want to make it taxable, but DTAA would say not taxable. So eventually, what would the foreign company follow? DTAA. So the foreign company eventually will follow the provisions of DTAA because they are beneficial, and they will say that India does not get a right to tax me on my business profits because I don't have a permanent establishment in India. So now it is logical enough, na, that in this scenario, even Income Tax Act 1961 might want to make it taxable. We cannot come up with MAT and tell the foreign company to pay tax. What does MAT stand for? What does the A in MAT stand for? What does the A in MAT stand for? Alternate. So that means MAT is an alternate method to calculate tax. But then tax only does not apply, because eventually foreign company is going to take recourse to DTAA, is going to take the benefit of DTAA and say that profits are not taxable. Now you cannot say, okay, but you still have to pay a minimum tax of 15%, because minimum alternate tax concept applies to companies and companies include foreign company also. No. So what they did was they said MAT as a concept will not apply. You are anyways not going to pay income tax to us, so don't pay MAT also. MAT will not apply only. But then think about it like this now, that if I am talking about a foreign company which is having business profits in India, and there is a permanent establishment in India. There is a permanent establishment in India. Now, the moment you say there are business profits, Income Tax Act 1961 will say it is taxable. If there is a permanent establishment, then DTAA will also say that these profits are taxable in India. So, conceptually speaking, is the foreign company now supposed to pay tax in India? That means if the foreign company is supposed to pay tax in India, both as per Income Tax Act and as per DTAA, then I can invoke the provisions of minimum alternate tax for a foreign company and ensure that a minimum amount of tax has been collected. So I can do this type of a working for a foreign company, book profit. I can do a book profit working. I can apply 15% minimum rate of tax for a foreign company on the book profit. Then the whole chapter of MAT will apply, because conceptually income is chargeable to tax. Once it's chargeable to tax, the regular method of computation and the alternate method of computation, both should be applicable. Are you clear? Chalo, continuing. India has a double taxation avoidance agreement with a particular foreign country, and the foreign company does not have a permanent establishment in India. First exception. Second exception. No double taxation avoidance agreement with that foreign country. And we are saying that this foreign company is not required to register itself under any law in India. So we are trying to imagine that the foreign company is from a country where India does not have a double taxation avoidance agreement. And we don't want the foreign company to ask for registration in India. Simple example, we don't have a double taxation avoidance agreement with Pakistan. And we don't want any Pakistan company to come to India and ask for registration under Companies Act, under Provident Fund Act, under Payment of Bonus Act, under Income Tax Act, nothing. So we are not expecting them to get themselves registered in India. There's no double taxation avoidance agreement. We are not concerned with them. There's no agreement for double taxation avoidance. MAT as a concept will not apply. Understood this? Third exception. Okay, slightly complicated. Pay attention. If a foreign company is getting covered by presumptive taxation from section 44B to section 44 triple B, and foreign company offers income to tax as per those sections, then MAT will not apply. Achha. What is this? These are sections which we have not done while we were doing PGBP, and I expressly told you that they are part of international taxation. So we will handle them, we will tackle them when we do international taxation. Presumptive taxation is a separate thing to study. Now there are 4 sections of presumptive taxation. 44B, 44BB, 44BBA, and 44 triple B. 44B is talking about shipping business of non-residents. BBA is talking about aircraft business of the non-residents, airline business. Forty-four BB. Just a second. Hmm. 44 BB is talking about some services and facilities that are provided in connection with exploration of mineral oils. And 44 triple B, this is talking about turnkey power projects. I'm not explaining them currently what they are, as in what the business means, but I'll give you a relevant information which is going to help us in understanding MAT. Shipping business. The amount of PGBP is 7.5% of the gross receipts. Airline business, the amount of PGBP is 5% of the gross receipts. And for 44 double B, exploration of mineral oils, and 44 triple B, turnkey power projects, The amount of PGBP is 10% of gross receipts or a sum lower than that as claimed by the assessee. Now observe this. For shipping business and airline business, there is no concept of offering income to tax lower or the assessing officer taxing you on an amount higher. That concept is not there only. So as far as section 44B and section 44 BBA are concerned, the PGBP amount will be that fixed amount, no change. In 44 BB and 44 BBB, the PGBP amount will be either the assumed amount, that is 10% of your profit, 10% of your collections, or lower than the assumed income, if it is claimed by the assessee. In these two sections, 44 BB and 44 BBB, assessing officer cannot tax a higher amount. There is a Supreme Court verdict which supports this point of view. The drafting has been done in such a manner that in the first subsection, the assumed amount is given to you. And in the second subsection, an amount lower than the assumed amount is possible to be taxed. For the assessee to be able to do this, lower than the assumed, maintenance of books of accounts and tax audit become compulsory. Now, this is what the structure of presumptive taxation is. MAT is applicable to a foreign company, basic concept, yes. But if the foreign company is involved in one of these four businesses which are covered by presumptive taxation, and the foreign company offers income to tax as per those sections. So 44B shipping business, 44 BBA airline business, the PGBP amount is a fixed amount assumed. AO cannot tax higher profits here. Assessee cannot offer lower profits here. It is the fixed amount. So obviously, it means that when you'll file a return of income, you will be showing the amounts as per presumptive taxation only. Now, in this case, MAT will not apply. So what will happen is that for an assessee who is covered by 44B, his PGBP will be 7.5% of the gross receipts, and his tax payable will be 40% of this PGBP profit that he has earned, plus surcharge if the provision of surcharge will apply, plus health education cess at 4%. Now in this working, this is my regular tax. Concept of MAT will not apply. We will not apply 15% of the PGBP profit or book profit, etc. Nothing. This is what you are going to pay tax. Similarly, if you are into the airline business, then my PGBP is a fixed amount, 5% of the gross receipts, and the non-resident foreign company is going to pay tax at 40% of this PGBP plus surcharge if applicable, plus health education cess at 4%. Now, even in this scenario, MAT is not going to be applicable. Are you clear with this much, guys? But then I think you can automatically predict what is going to happen in the next two sections, where if I am talking about 44 double B and 44 triple B, and this foreign company is showing its profits as the assumed profits. The assumed profits are offered to tax. Tell me, what should apply? MAT should apply, should not apply? MAT should apply, should not apply? MAT will not be applicable regular tax rates will apply. But imagine if the foreign company decides to offer lower profits, assumed profits are 10% of your gross receipts. It says, no, I am not earning 10%, I am earning lower than that. Now what should happen? Books of account anyways will be maintained. So there will be a profit and loss account. Based on the profit and loss account itself, the company will be able to claim that we are earning lower than what you have assumed. So now MAT as a chapter will be applicable. I will follow the normal system of calculation, 40% tax, regular method, book profit computation, MAT applicable 15%, compare the two and decide the tax amount. If you are covered by presumptive taxation, and you offer income to tax as per presumptive taxation, then MAT does not apply because a certain amount of profit is assumed. Then why should I disturb that calculation by doing book profit working? I'll repeat. You are covered by presumptive taxation, foreign companies. So we are saying we will assume a particular amount as your profit. You pay tax on it, story over. Then you cannot impose an alternate method of calculation as MAT. We are saying MAT is not applicable only to you, even though you are a foreign company. We will not collect MAT because we have already given you a simplified method of calculating your income and calculating your tax. We've assumed 5% is taxable, 5% of your collection is taxable, 7.5% of your collection is taxable, 10% of your collection is taxable. We will not disturb that working by doing book profit working again and calculating MAT. No, we are saying MAT is not applicable if you are paying tax according to what we have presumed, presumptive taxation. But if you wish to declare lower profits because the section allows you to do so, then you are yourself saying don't tax me on the presumed amount, tax me on the actual amount. Then if the assessee himself is wanting to pay tax on actual, then even the Income Tax Act will apply MAT. Are we clear with this? Can I move ahead, guys? Acha, MAT applies to domestic companies. Yes, MAT applies to domestic companies, but there are two small exceptions created for domestic companies here also. First, if the domestic company is involved in life insurance business, then there is already section 115B created for it. Okay. What section number did I just speak? 115B. Profits from life insurance business. They are taxed under section 115B. And I've told it to you in the past that whenever we are talking about 115B, 115 as a section, we are talking about tax rates. For that matter, yesterday's lecture AMT was 115JC. Today's lecture MAT is 115JB. So 115 as section number is talking about tax rate. Profits from life insurance business are taxed at the rate of 12.5%. This 12.5% is your tax rate. So compute your profits and the rate of tax will be 12.5. Then it's obvious na yaar, that if the rate of tax is 12.5, we can't have the rate of tax as 18.5 or 15% as it is now. When there is already a 12.5% tax rate prescribed for life insurance profits, then why should I apply minimum alternate tax to that company and tell the company to pay tax at 15%? I mean, in simple terms, you'll agree with me that 115B is anyways created. Then why apply 115JB? Agreed? And the second exception. If a domestic company pays tax under section 115BAA or under section 115BAB. What are these? These are our two amendments relating to domestic companies. For a domestic company, my normal tax rate as per Finance Act is that if my turnover 2 years ago, that is previous year 17-18, was less than or equal to 400 crores, then my rate of income tax was 25%. 25% of the total income. If this condition did not get satisfied, then I would pay tax at 30% of the total income. This is the rate prescribed by the budget. But if the option is exercised by the domestic company, either under 115BAA or under 115BAB, then in BAA, the rate of tax will be 22%. And in BAB, the rate of tax will be 15%. Applied on total income. But this total income is not computed normally. This total income is without allowing deductions deduction on account of additional depreciation, without allowing deduction under section 35 for scientific research, without allowing deductions under section 32 AD, which is talking about that additional investment allowance if you are in the backward area of those 4 states, without allowing any deduction under section 35 AD, specified business, without allowing any deduction under 10AA, special economic zone, without allowing any deduction under chapter 6A part number C, except for 80JJAA. So if you create employment, then you get employment generation, you get a deduction under 80JJAA. That deduction will be permitted, but other than that, 80IA, 80IB, 80IC, 80IAB, no such deductions will be allowed to you under this chapter 6A part C without allowing any deductions. This total income will be calculated without set off of brought forward losses and brought forward unabsorbed depreciation. But to be very accurate, to the extent they are related to these above deductions. So if the loss arises due to section 35 deduction, due to 32 AD deduction, due to 35 AD deduction, those losses cannot be set off and carry forward. If there is unabsorbed depreciation, which is due to additional depreciation, that cannot be carried forward and set off. My point is, if a domestic company exercises this option, 115BAA and 115BAB, it pays tax at a reduced rate of 22 and 15, reduced than the budget rates. Budget rates are 25% and 30% on total income after taking all the deductions. But here, there are various restrictions put up. After we finish the chapter of MAT, and before we go to assessment procedure, we will devote about 2 hours, 1.5 to 2 hours for the discussion of these 2 sections. So this is a separate system of calculation by itself. Certain deductions are not allowed, certain set of etc. is not allowed, and via this, if you'll understand that the impact of all of these things will be that my total income will increase. My rate of tax is lower as compared to the Finance Act. And so this section is an option. You want, you can go ahead and follow the normal system, no problem. But you want, you can exercise this option. This option is a irrevocable option. As in, once exercised, you cannot go back to the budget rates. Once you select one of these 2 sections, then you have to follow them lifetime till the company is in existence. Now, what we are trying to do here is, we are trying to think, if normal tax rates are applicable, then you are availing all the deductions that are legally allowed, and you are paying tax at 25% or 30%. Now, in this case, do you think MAT will apply in this scenario? Yeah, in this scenario, is MAT going to be applicable here? Yes, of course, MAT will apply. MAT is going to apply. But here, in this scenario, there's a whole system for calculation. Certain deductions are deliberately withdrawn and total income is calculated. And then you are applying lower tax rate, 22%, 15%. Now, I hope you understand, applying MAT will ultimately defeat this purpose. You are reducing the tax rate if a company decides to go for this option. it does not take any of those deductions and calculates its income tax either at 22% or at 15%. And then you say, fine, this method is okay, but 115JB is applicable to a domestic company, so that working has to be done. Then what's the point of introducing these two sections and reducing the tax rate, making it lower than the Finance Act? Because eventually you may end up imposing MAT and not pay tax as per this section. Then the purpose of introducing this section goes for a toss. You understood this? As in, if there is a company which pays tax as per Finance Act, if a company pays tax as per Finance Act, so this is say company number one. Company number one has not gone for the option of 115BAA, has not gone for the option of 115BAB. Then how would you do your working? You would say tax as per Finance Act. Then you would compare it with tax under section 115JB, that is MAT. And you'll say whichever is higher is the tax payable. Agreed? Now imagine company 2. Company 2 has either selected 115BAA or selected 115BAB, has gone for that option. Now you're saying tax as per Finance Act nahi, tax payable under section 115BAA or 115BAB. If you now start imposing MAT here and you say tax under section 115JB, and out of the two, whichever is higher is to be paid, then you can observe the whole purpose is defeated. As in, I said from Finance Act, you have an option of switching over to these two sections, 115BAA, BAB. But eventually, if you're anyways going to apply MAT and collect tax on MAT, then what's the point of introducing them? Then you are as good as going for company number one situation only. You understood this? This last thing that I spoke, did you understand? That if you are allowing the company to switch to 115BAA and BAB, but eventually if you are going to impose tax as per 115JB only, then there's no point of introducing two new sections. And therefore, when those two new sections were introduced, 115JB was also amended, and they said MAT as a concept is not applicable only. Then you pay tax as per those two sections only. Are you clear? Everyone, the detailed in-depth discussion is pending. But applicability, non-applicability of MAT, are we clear about it, guys? Can I move ahead? Okay, just give me 2 minutes, please. 2 minutes, please. Hi guys, are we there? Yeah. Chalo, we'll move ahead. Okay, tell me one thing. Based on our discussion yesterday, this is very simple for you. Will you have a concept of MAT